Hello, welcome. I don't know, it's Halloween. Give me a break. I was trying something. Welcome. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. Am I streaming? Am I live? I'm back. It's the coding train. It's Friday. It's October something. Halloween's coming up in a few days. I don't have a costume, but although I am dressed as Daniel Schiffman on the coding train. Friday afternoon is not the greatest time for me. It's been a long week. I'm very exhausted, but I'm pulling the energy together, looking over at my monitor here. There's the train, here I am, and here we go. All right, welcome. Welcome. So what's happening today? What are you watching? This is me, Daniel Schiffman, live on Friday afternoon, as I often am. I'm going to do some coding stuff. I'm going to be here for a couple hours. Like, wake up somehow. I did this whole workshop today, actually. I'm kind of excited to talk to you about this. Let me open up the web browser here. Well, I want to talk about processing day, so many things. Let's see. I know there's some of you out there who watch this because I met some of you in person at Processing Day in Boston last week, and that was really wonderful. So hello to everyone that I met in person in Boston. I'm going to hold on. I have an idea. Whenever, oh yeah, I got to put the green paper over here. I will do that in a moment. Whenever I'm lost and feeling like I don't know what to do on the coding train, I think maybe it's just time for some random numbers. This will get us warmed up. Spooky random numbers. 63,058. 6,498. 49,339. 33,314. That's all I got for you. Okay. Whew. I do sort of have a costume. This is my coding train conductor cap. I could put that on. I think somewhere over here I might even have a bandana. If I walk over here in this pile, if I have like bandages and splints from having a broken arm, but I can't seem to see where that bandana is. That's okay. I do have some, here we go. I have some toy trains. This is Rosie, and this is, I don't know. This is not what Thomas trained. All right, train overkill. This is terrifying. Oh, Adam asks, when do you start programming? Probably, let me see, maybe like 45 minutes or so. It usually takes me a while to like drum up the courage. Oh, I should really read at the same tempo of the music. That would have been good. All right, let me. I have something really spooky for you. Here for my spooky coding train episode. I am the headless programmer. Woo! This isn't really working. Or the necklace, the floating head. All right. Let's see. This is going to go over here. This is going to go over here. Jared in the chat is somebody that I met in person at Processing Day. Hello. The Tech Blog is here for their first stream ever. Wonderful. All right, so I have a new system that I'm working on. My new system is, although it's a little silly for me to pull this up here, if I go to YouTube Schiffman Live, this webpage will appear with me on it, and I'm talking. But what I want to look at is this. So what I'm trying to do now is always keep, this is a description, this page is always there. It just usually says offline. But when I think of something that I want to do a video on, I put it in here. Even though I have this whole Rainbow Topics GitHub repository, that someday I'll figure out this magic way to organize and figure out what to do in each live stream. As I look through that and think of things, this is most of my running list of things that have come up in my courses here at NYU that I'm going to do videos on. I will also, it says TBA. So I didn't do a good job, and that was last week, Friday, October 20th. But the idea is that you can always check this page, and I will keep it up to date with like when is the next live stream and what time. And then if it's not up to date, you can send me a tweet at Schiffman to say, hey, did you forget to update it? And then I will go and update it. So that's my new system. I should have dressed in green. That would have been a good spooky. I probably have enough green paper that I could just tape it all to myself in some weird, I don't know. I'm not really that big on the Halloween thing. Although I was told by my children to dress as Cyborg this year because I have all this metal and titanium in my arm. So I'm already Cyborg. So maybe when is Halloween? Next week, whenever it is. Okay, so by the way, this then we can see, this is my running list of topics. Oh, someone's really upset by this corner. No, this corner. Yeah. That's a little better, right? There we go. All right, so functional I know, can you believe this? Can you believe it says ES6 Arrow some functions? Ah! Wait. Look. That's why it's spooky, because the arrow function is spooky programming. So let me get through this list here. Wait, stop talking. You? Let me grab all this. So unfortunately, I can't do the Alexa skill today because I don't have the Alexa with me. That's too bad. I'm gonna have to come back to that next week. I'm not really prepared for this stuff. I'm not prepared for anything. I feel like every week it's important. This is kind of like eating although I really like vegetables, so I don't know if I was gonna say this, but I kind of have this thing where I want to replace all of the old object-oriented programming and JavaScript videos with ES6 classes. And so just each week, if I can do like one or two more of those, then eventually they'll all be done and I will have released myself from that. This is something that came up this week at ITP in my intro programming class. We were looking at how to use the webcam in the browser with p5.js. And I have all these, I've done a lot of videos, a slit scan example, a photo booth example, a weird like brightness and checkbox mirror. But I didn't think I did one that like paints your portrait with flocking agents or particles. And so I want to do that. Some of you might have watched the recent Golan Levin video about circle morphing. So I thought I should do a circle morphing coding challenge to help kind of kick that off. And then this is, I'm working on a Word2Vec. You know, you might be asking, like, what is Word2Vec? But there's this thing that exists in data science, maybe. I don't know what field this falls under. Machine learning, data science, computational linguistics, of taking words in a body of text and encoding them into some sort of like magical, it's not really magical, numeric form so that you can start to like add and subtract and do all sorts of interesting things with words. And I've been reading a tutorial from Alison Parrish, which is amazing, that I want to refer to. And that's a tutorial in Python. I want to redo some of the examples in JavaScript with this Word2Vec library. So this is my list. I think this might be a time for a, I don't have a sound effect for it. Straw poll, that does work. That's my new TikTok sound effect. Oh, I know, time for a straw poll. So I think that might be how I sort of figure this out. So I'm not going to include the more OOP in JS because I have to do that. And I don't know if I'll start with that or come back to that later. But the rest of this stuff, I could also just spin the wheel, but I like doing the straw poll thing. Sometimes I like to spin the wheel. Let's do this. So I'm going to grab all this. I'm going to go to strawpoll.com. What should I start with? Can I just paste this in here? No, that would be much too easy. So I'm going to do these one at a time. These go together. By the way, filter should probably be on this list, right? Should I have filter on this list? Whoops. Word to Vec. All right. So here we go. This is now the straw poll. That didn't work. That's for like. So this is the straw poll. Somebody please, who has privileges, please post this in the chat. What was that? I had this other. Oh yeah, and I want to do some more. I need to come up with a contest where I can give away another T-shirt because I'm kind of like really into this game show thing recently, and I've been trying to find all this game show music. Behind this door is ES6 Arrow functions. Woohoo! Oh, that cut off rather abruptly. All right, so maybe some people are watching this for the first time. If you want to support the work that I'm doing, I really don't recommend that you do that. But if you really insist, you can go to patreon.com/codingtrain. You can join by signing up to be a patron of the Coding Train. You can join our Slack channel, and then if I ever get around to it, I will sometimes send you a T-shirt or a book, depending on the level of support that you provide. Let's see, what else? Oh, you can get your own Coding Train T-shirt at storeenvy.codingtrain.com, probably in the description of this video. Let's see, what else can I tell you about me? I will be here every Friday. I'm excited about some new work that I'm doing in the area of machine learning, which will be coming soon to a Coding Train near you. Okay, so let's see. How's this going? Don't hide the shirt. Have I given you guys enough time? Let's see. George writes, I know this is a particularly late time, so I have heard from a lot of people, especially European and other international viewers, that are either 6 hours ahead or 12 hours ahead, that it's the middle of the night for you and you like to watch it live, and couldn't I do this at some sort of normal time of the day? And I hear you, and I will try to do it earlier on other weeks. This is a particularly busy time of the year for me. I teach 3 classes full-time here at New York University, and it's busy. But it's going to slow down, and then it'll be January, and I will have all this time to try to I might rethink my actual live streaming schedule for 2018, so stay tuned. Koronk in the patron group asks, what about also JS call, bind, apply? Don't I not have to use those anymore now that we're into ES6? I thought maybe I just took so long to make videos about those. It's kind of like how I kept saying I was going to make a video about the Connect skeleton tracking, and it took so long to get to it that Microsoft just ended up killing the Connect, and maybe I don't need to bother to do that video anymore. I really think I should do it still. I have one sitting over there. I'm going to next week, let's do Connect. So, hello, Germany. Mergen in the chat. Mergen, I'm sorry, I'm totally mispronouncing your name. Created. Let me mention a few shout out things here. Created an iOS app to do coding in P5. Simon, also loyal viewer Simon, who stays up way past his bedtime to watch the Coding Train, created his own P5. His own speech library. He wanted me to mention it. Simon, so github.com/Simon Tiger, I think, Simon-Tiger. And so if you're interested in checking, I did a lot of videos on the P5 speech library. And here, if you want to check out Simon's library called Speech.js, go check it out and see what you think, and maybe add some comments and give some feedback. Also, I am going to today. I definitely want to do that circle morphing thing. So let me bring that up for a second. First of all, let's go to Twitter. Oh, I was going to do something with the paperclip game. So many things. I can't do. I quit. It's too much. Circle morphing. So hashtag. Whoa, I spelled it wrong. Circle morphing on Twitter. We should see now. We should see now. Look at this. So this is one of the things that I want to look at today. How do you morph? This is a lovely, like, sort of visual explanation from one shape to another. Golan Levin did in a whole guest video about this. There's a whole repository with lots of examples of this, but I wanted to do as a challenge one of them. So let's look at some of these. Whoa, that's kind of nuts. Oh, this one's cool. I looked at it earlier, which is circle to sphere. Look, there's me in somebody else's video. This is Dave's video, and look at this. Sphere to, can you hear, by the way, the audio coming from that? You can't. I have to switch it so you can hear the laptop's audio. And then, I love this one. But where, oh, here it is. Here's a cool, oh, whoa! I haven't seen this one. Whoa, wait a second, what just happened there? That was a circle. And now it's a square. Wow, that's wild. This is one I was expecting. Whoa! All right, so all these wild ideas that I could have never thought of in my life of changing from square to circle. A lot of them from Johan Carlson, it seems. Great, here's another one. Whoa, there's so many. So I encourage you to look at those on your own. And I think I've spent enough time stalling now that we can look at this. I wanted to do the painting webcam challenge. Okay, good. That looks pretty good. Wow, so there's a lot of pretty wide variety of stuff. I don't know. It's you know, this thrills me to no end because while I'm excited to learn these new syntax features of a programming language and there's lots of value there and usefulness, is it really what I'm here for? Am I really here for the arrow function, arrow? You know, I don't have any production. It's just me. It's like an iPad with some like app where you press buttons and it plays sounds. It's terrible. All right, so let me just confirm, because I have a bad habit of making a video tutorial of something I already made a video tutorial about. So let me just confirm that I haven't actually made this video tutorial. So where am I in the world? I'm going to go here, Schiffman, and I'm going to go to here. What I'm looking for is 11, video and pixels. And okay, so these are the ones that I've done. Brightness mirror, oh, I made it already. I thought I hadn't. I thought, oh, I did it, but it wasn't. When I looked the other day, it wasn't there. Let's watch this video. Maybe it's good.
Let's suppose.
Oh, geez, we gotta watch an ad first. What is this YouTube thing? So I'm gonna take a break.
I made around 14 years ago. I'm running an updated version of it that runs in processing. And what I'm going to do is show you how to actually make something like this happen in the browser using
All right.
p5.js.
He's scrunching your head. He's scrunching your head.
Mention a few other things about this that you'll see is that so if I click the mouse here, which I'm now in.
All right, so I already made this. Go. Those of you can stop watching this live and go watch this video.
Using this kind of like these.
All right, so boy, this is the worst. This is terrible. Now I don't know what would. I think we have to do this again. This is not a legitimate. This is bad use of polling. If anybody, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm referring to yet there, but this is bad use of polling. We now have 23 people who didn't get a chance to vote over here, so we're going to do this again without it. What should I start with? Oh wait, hold on. So one thing we do with the simplify things is I'm going to say circle morphing. I'm going to say word to vec. I'm going to, by the way, I'm just going to, here's the thing. I have to do the circle morphing. And I have to do the object stuff. What's the point of this? All right, we're going to do both of these things today. It could not possibly have been a half an hour. So sometimes certain things that I've made don't get noticed if they're not one of the coding challenges. They're sort of buried in a tutorial playlist. If I'd called it like coding challenge, paint your portrait, everybody would have know that it's there. Do it better, says Alka. All right. Let's see here. It's time. First of all right. We're going to do something totally crazy instead. Nothing that I said is what we're going to do. This is a terrible idea. But I'm going to go here. This is the workshop that we did today at ITP. Oh, wrong. Okay. Oh, wait. You have to be able to hear the sounds here. I can just turn this up. So we got some instructions here. Make a project about shadows that prophecies with the WordNick API. Let's spin it again. Yay! Make a project about the history of the bicycle that sings with Perlin noise. You can't even hear the music probably. And I'll come back to this. All right, we're going to do... I have to do all these things today. So the order is really just the only thing that I'm trying to figure out. Okay, things that I must do today. Circle morphing. Object, one more OOP in JS video. That's really it. Word to vec. I feel like these are the things that I have to do. Wait. ES6 Arrow. So here we go. And processing.py, that's an interesting idea. What was the other thing I've got here? ES6. Maybe I should leave that out right now. No, I already put that in there. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens with this. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody, this is for real. Whatever the wheel tells me is what I must do. Oh my God, seriously? Oh, the OB. No, keep going, keep going, keep going. A little further, a little further, a little further. Ah! No! No! Oh my God, I'm so zoomed in. Is it 4:30 yet? It's at 4:30. All right. Enough with all this Michigan nonsense. It's time. Let's do something for reals. I don't know if I really want to start with this. But the wheel has spoken. And so I'm going to do a video about, and I have a kind of a strange demonstration that I think might be somewhat useful. So first what I need to do is open up Terminal and let's see here. Yeah, it is a happy face. Where do I go? Desktop, p5.G-B. I'm standing totally in front of what I'm typing. Oh, I know what I needed to do, a workflow video today too. Oh boy. I need more time. P5G. There is a lot to arrow functions, I know. Arrow functions. Okay. But I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but I am. It's happening somehow, for some reason. And now, I'm going to open up my text editor. And I think we're good. Okay, whoa. All right. Yep, thank you, Simon. This is 16.3. Arrow functions, topics of JavaScript in ES6. So I think this merits me starting over here. And I don't know what's going on with this camera. Am I like unreasonably large? Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more. It's probably, if I zoom out too much, oops, that's zooming in. I also should check the focus here. Can you read that? Let me have a look. That's the wrong button. Oh. The button that I usually use to zoom in to check the focus doesn't seem to be working. But I'm just going to assume that it's fine. I'm not going to trip over myself. It's okay, everything's okay. Focus is good, all right. Hello, welcome to a special spooky coding train video about ES6. The arrow function. Spooky arrow function. Hold on a sec. I'm recording this close to Halloween, and when you're watching this in the future, you won't care and this will be ridiculous, but that's what the video is starting with anyway. What is this thing? I have to say, for a very long time, I have seen this in code, and I just kind of shrivel up and feel very worried because it's something that I don't understand, and I think that I'm supposed to understand it, and it's supposed to make things better, but I just don't understand. So I've taken some time to attempt to understand it. I've used it, and I'm intending to use it in some future videos that I'm going to make, possibly even today. So I feel it's time for me to attempt to talk about what this is to you, the viewer, watching this video. So there was a time in the past, not too long ago, when I made a video about ES5, ES6, I kind of talked about what those things were. I messed up a lot of it. If you read the comments, you can see what I messed up. But there was an aspect of it where I discussed this idea of var being the way to declare a variable in the previous version of JavaScript called ES5. And now there is another way to declare a variable, let, which is part of ES6. And then there is even another way to declare a variable known as const, which is also part of ES6. And these work in a slightly different way, and they clean up some problems, and they protect you against yourself and your own inevitable ability to make all sorts of strange errors. And so that's a separate discussion. Now, there is another change that can be looked at somewhat in the same way, which is that I used to be able to say, and I still can, and I still will, and I probably always will. I love function, don't go away from me. I can declare a function like this with some amount of arguments. There is a new way to do this exact same thing. Oh my goodness, look, I forgot to put a name. I forgot to name this function. And the reason why I forgot is because the thing that I'm talking about here with arrow functions, that's what's going to go over here. This is ES5. It's typically used, I think actually it's the only way you could use it. Someone's going to tell me and then I'll correct myself later. For anonymous functions. Anonymous functions, unnamed functions, inline functions. You'll see, if that's not familiar to you, I will explain that as well in the context of this video. But what you can see here is I'm saying function with these arguments execute this code. This function doesn't have a name. It's not called unicorn fluffy times or whatever. It's just called function. So now, instead, I can say, hey, look at this. These parentheses here. I can say, hey, let's instead of saying function, let's say arrow, which is an equals and a greater than, arrow, curly bracket, close curly bracket. So this is somewhat ES5, ES6. Now why would you want to do this? I mean, I'm gonna stand with my back to you for a second and look at that. You can see if I have a slightly growing bald spot over here. Now, I'm looking at this. I'm tripping over things. Why would you do this? Well, one thing is, it's a little bit less typing. Function equal less than 2 characters, it's 8 characters. It sort of saves some typing. Ultimately, that's one of the main reasons for this arrow function, which is also known as lambda, I think is a way of referring to it. I should look that up. Is to reduce the amount of code you have to type. But there are also some things that this fixes that are weird about how this function can work related to scope and all this stuff. I gotta take a break. All right. Right. You don't need the print. Yes, you can call arrow functions lambda. They're unnamed functions. That's what makes them anonymous. They're the same thing. Okay. Yeah, you can have one line. I'm just checking the chat. And everybody is correcting me or actually no one's really correcting me. Okay. So one of the reasons to write functions like this, for this arrow syntax, is simply conciseness. Less typing, don't need function. We just say equals greater than. The interesting thing is, one of the reasons for doing this is this idea of conciseness. This can become even more concise. In fact, these parentheses, we're going to see as I show you some examples, are optional. And in fact, not in some cases, this bracket is also optional. Oh, and I'm totally writing somewhere you can't see, but what I just wrote was optional. And in fact, let's say my function was going to return something. This return statement can in fact be optional or implicit. It can be just sort of assume that it's there, that you're going to return something. And eventually you can see that we might write things like this. This is a function that takes any given value x and returns its value multiplied by 2. Whereas previously I would have had to say function parentheses x and parentheses open curly bracket return x times 2 close curly bracket. So on the one hand, this idea of these lambdas, these arrow functions, we can start to do things that are very concise for these anonymous unnamed functions. That's the same thing in certain scenarios. I got to come up with some scenarios where it'll be useful. But there's also something else. And in fact, it's something really interesting and confusing and weird, which is that, you know, there's this key word in JavaScript called this, and it's a fundamental to a lot of how things work with object-oriented programming and classes. It's context when you have a callback and you use this. So there are some issues with the way that this function definition loses track of what this should be pointing to in certain cases where you would want it to be pointing to something. And the arrow syntax fixes that. So in the same way that let fixed some problems with scope and how variables are defined, the arrow syntax fixes some problems with how this operates in JavaScript and about what it points to. So this is the map of some new features in ES6. Function becoming arrow, leading towards interesting, concise statements for various operations, like perhaps some array operations that I might show you with things like map or reduce or filter, as well as this thing about fixing this thing. Okay? Did you really just watch how long this was about some spooky diagram of an arrow function? You did. So let's try to write some code and maybe this will make more sense. All right, how am I doing? It's off screen. What's off screen? Play the this.dot song. Need something that we can ping. What did I do too high? Oh, this thing I wrote was like way too high. Ah! I always do that. It's like I can't not do it. Let me just. Ah! Good. All right, where was I? If I could watch myself back, I could just redo that part. Zoom out. Yeah, do the whole thing over. As always, I always forget the this.dot, 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 this.dot. I'm going to do this.dot, this.dot. I'm going to do this.dot, this.dot, this.dot. I'm going to do this.dot, this.dot. I'm going to do this.dot. All right. We'll see if Mathieu can save me from myself once again. So, for example, we can eventually write. I'm going to give myself some more room here and not draw too high up there like I usually do, that I might have just done and had to restate what I'm saying. We can eventually write things that look like this. X arrow x times 2. What does this mean? This means actually create a function that takes an argument x and returns x times 2. So one of the reasons for doing this is this conciseness. Now, okay, so I just redid that part. Did I talk about the this thing after that? I think I might have. Let me do that part again. Yeah, exactly. They're spooky. I'm not kidding about them being spooky. It's like I don't love the okay. So I don't remember what order I talked about anything in. So one reason is a new syntax, conciseness, common operations, and actually one of the things that I will show you is this kind of writing can be really useful when I eventually make a video about some other array functions that I'm going to use for some other tutorials that I'm doing. And if we look at the functions like map and reduce and filter, These are array functions that you can perform operations. Like if I wanted to just double the element of every, if I wanted to double the value of every element in an array, I could say map and give it this, and it's going to just happen in a nice and concise way. Now, there is another aspect of this that's key and somewhat crucial, which is that there is a word, a key word in JavaScript called this. And we've seen, you guys are familiar with it. This is the word that I always forget, especially when I'm doing object-oriented programming. I just say this.x and this.y. I'm always forgetting the this dot. This can refer to different things. In fact, if I'm just in a JavaScript sketch that I've written a piece of code that's running in the browser, if I just say this, it refers to the window object, the sort of global object. This always refers to something. It's the current context of where you are. Am I in this object? Am I in the global scope? And with this particular function syntax, you might want to use it in a particular context where you want to keep a certain value of this and not lose track of it. And in fact, this old way of defining a function can forget about what this should be referring to. And this way of doing it is a way where JavaScript will not forget. And so in previous versions of JavaScript, you might have seen things like bind and apply. You can use other functions to kind of bind and keep track of the this. And with the arrow function, the this will keep track of itself in a more elegant and hopefully way that you would have intended. So I realize that like out of context, that probably makes absolutely no sense. But I'm going to make a scenario in this video where I want this to equal something, and writing it this way, it fails, and writing it this way, it works. I will say, I erased my var becomes let. Var becomes let is pretty friendly. They're both three-letter words. Var means variable. Let is kind of like let this equal something. This transition to me is not as smooth. Function means I'm defining a function. Arrow, I guess we could make this sort of case that like these values, these arguments become transformed or get sent into here and do something. X becomes X times 2. So there is some kind of meaning there. But one reason why I tend to avoid using arrow functions all the time is that it can make your code fewer characters, which sometimes is valuable for making it readable. It can be really hard for beginners when we're just starting out to be able to read and understand what the code is doing. So this video is to explore, you can't escape it. I might like to run away and never look at an arrow function, but I can't escape it. So this video is an attempt to unpack this even more. All right, let's actually look at some code. All right, let's see. That was probably a ridiculous amount of time spent, but let's all right, if you're still watching this video, you're a very nice person, and I really appreciate it. I have a P5 sketch. It's doing nothing. It's just a blank canvas. I want to add something to it. I am going to say let button equal create button press. And then I'm going to say button.mousePressed. Now, whoops. In an older life, long ago, in another time, when I had less gray hair and was even a little bit more organized making these video tutorials, to be perfectly honest, I would have done something like this. Change background. And then I would have written a function down here, function, change background. And I would have said, this function is a callback to the mouse pressed event on the button. So button.mousePressed, that change background function, run whatever code is in here whenever you press the mouse on the button. And let's actually do that. I'm going to say background, random 255. So now, if I go back to the browser and I look at this code, every time I press the button, I get a new random grayscale background. This is my way of writing this code when I want to work in a sort of the most easy to understand way in a beginner context. I have a function here. I can see what it's named. I can see where it goes. So one thing I could do in JavaScript, which is there's no reason why I have to name the function and then put it down here. I could just take this whole function and put it in between the parentheses in mouse pressed. So I'm going to do that. I just put it right there, and I'm going to just hit save. It's going to like auto-format it. And now that it's in there, it doesn't need a name. It sort of exists just for the event right here. I'm going to put a function in there, pass the function in as the argument itself. You know, which do I like better, one or the other? Who really knows? I don't know. But this is an anonymous function. It has no name. You could call it an inline function, although it happens over multiple lines. So that's step number one. Now, if I hit refresh, same exact thing is happening. I could now be even more concise. And I can get rid of the word function. And I can say equal arrow, and there we go. Hooray, I've used an arrow function. Hit refresh, and it's the same thing. And I don't know, do I need these? Could I even get away with something weird like this? Maybe. Oh, that looks so strange. Could that possibly be right? Somehow, I find this hard to believe that that could possibly be right. No, what did I do wrong here? Maybe this. See, this? Yes, maybe here. Yeah, let's try this. No. This is why I don't like these arrow functions. I can never figure it out. But maybe you can't even do it this way because it's not hold on. Wait, there's nobody in the chat telling me how to do this correctly? I didn't like it in the first place. I mean, well, I guess I could put the brackets in like this. Oh, that's wrong. Because there's another. Oh, this needs a semicolon. No. I had it. Background. Yeah, that's what I had. One close parentheses. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm missing a close parentheses here. Oh, the random. So wait a sec. Okay. By the way, this is definitely not all making it into the edited version. People say they like when I don't edit out my mistakes, but some mistakes have to be edited out. I'm just monkeying around here. So if I get rid of this and get rid of this, in this case, those brackets are not optional. It's too much going on in there with the func call to background. All right. So we'll just go back to here. So edit that whole digression out of trying to get rid of the brackets there. Okay, so here is step number one. Oh, right, get rid of this. Is there really a way? Is there really a way? Hold on. All right, let's give this a little bit more. Let's give this a little more try. What you're saying is, okay, so I definitely don't need this. This is a full statement. Then I don't need this, and I don't need this. This should work, right? I did it! All right. So maybe, Mathieu, when you edit it, leave like a little bit of me messing up and then cut to right now, I guess. Okay, I think I figured it out. Let's try this one more time. What's optional? Oh yeah, I could get rid of the curly brackets. Those are optional. If I get rid of those curly brackets, I also don't need this semicolon because it's one line. And then I should be able to do this. And now, in theory, this is also correct. It's very spooky though. And this works too. Here's it. Have I helped anybody? Have I made the world a better place? Yes, I managed to write that in one line. But I can, and I sort of guess I understand what's going on. But in the end, I'm very happy with it. There we go. I'm very happy with it like this. This is perfectly fine. I feel like I can breathe, I can relax, I can name everything in my code, and I can know what it's doing. But there are some cases where the arrow function really does help, and I will get to those eventually in these incredibly long-winded video tutorials that I'm making. Let's look at one such case. So let's say that I'm going to create a class, and I'm going to call this class counter. So if this is a somewhat of a trivial example that doesn't have a lot of practical value, although I think that I could expand it to start using like DOM element animations or API calls. So let's begin with something though that's very, very simple. The idea of this class, whenever I make a class, I need a constructor. I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to make, and I'm really standing in front of my code. I'm going to make a property called count, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. Then I'm going to write a function called countit, and I'm going to say this.count plus plus. And I will just say, oh yeah, and let's do this. Let's also say this.p equals create p, so I'm going to make a paragraph element. And then I'm going to say this.p.html, this.count. What is going on? My goodness. So the idea here is that, and I'm going to get rid of all this stuff that I had from earlier in the video. I'm going to say no canvas. And I'm going to say let counter1 equal new counter. And then I'm going to say, I guess I guess I'll use the draw. You'll see, I have this plan. But for now, I'm just going to say function draw, which is a little bit weird, counter1.countit. All right, ready? So here we go. What's going to happen when I run this sketch? It's going to break because this needs to be a global variable. And by the way, this might be a time where I used const. I am never going to redeclare this object. I don't know. I'm just trying to get comfortable using const. When do I use const? If it's something that I want to not allow myself to reinitialize, redeclare in a different way, and protecting myself from mistakes. And oh, you've got to do it up there. Oh boy. Wow, you can't, of course I can't do that. I can't make the const nothing and then read. All right, I'm just going to make this let. That was a big failure. I have a new. Hold on. Wait a sec. Oh, yeah. That was a big failure for using const. That was my new sound effect. Okay, never mind. Okay, so let me just use let. Take it easy on me, please. I'm just going to use let. Now let's run this. And there it is. Ooh, look at that. I've got my counter going like this. Now here's the thing. I didn't really want to use that draw loop. I want each counter to count itself. So what I want to do is when I make a counter, I want to give it some things. Like I want to give it a starting value, and I want to give it a wait, a time. So I'm going to say what I want is this counter to start at 100, and I want it to count every 500 milliseconds. So this.count should start as start, and I'm going to have a new variable called this.wait, which will equal 500. And now what am I going to do? I am going to use, and I actually probably don't need to keep this.wait. We'll see in a second. I could use this. I'll call this wait. You'll see in a second. I'm going to use this function called setInterval. And what setInterval does is it says, here's a callback, count it, right? That function down here, and then do that every so often. All right. All right, ready? So this is the idea. I'm going to create a counter that is going to, and then I'm going to say like every 500 milliseconds, count up from 100 and update that paragraph element. Let's see what happens. Counted is not defined. Oh yeah, counted is not defined. It's like not in the scope here. Oh, okay, well I know. I'm going to make this called a function counted. So it's not really like a function that's part of the class anymore. It's just like a function, right? So I'm going to name it function, and I'll put it even here. Like this is how I did it with that mouse pressed, right? Count that function, increase the count. Here we go. Cannot read what? Oh, it cannot do anything. Why? So hold on a second. Let's just see something. When I first run a sketch, if I were to just do something like and say console.log this, what I get is this thing called the window object. This refers to the global context, the window object. Now, if I'm in here if I'm in the constructor, for example, and I say console.log this, oh, I'm referring to the counter object, because this JavaScript knows to repoint the keyword this to the current context, which is the current counter object. But why? Why? What is happening in here? Console.log this. This is inside the class. It's a function inside the object. Can't I know that I'm talking about that object? And so now I'm going to refresh. And see, what is it console logging? The window object again. Spooky window up. No, it's not really spooky. So what do I do about this? Guess what? This is where the arrow function comes in. If I use an anonymous function right in here, so I can take this whole thing and I can put it in here, I can get rid of the name, right? So this is just me recreating this with an anonymous function. I'm going to hit refresh. It's still referring to the window object because I've named this function. But if I change this to the arrow syntax, let's see what happens now. There we go. And now I have my counter that's working. And here's the thing. What's magical, not really magical about this, is that what I've done is, because I made this object-oriented, and actually, to be honest, this doesn't need to be, these could be const again. Let's make them const. They're so constant. I can't even begin to, I can make a bunch of these, starting at different values, going in with different speeds. And we'll see here that, there we go. I've got a bunch of different counters, each counting at their own rate, each starting at a different value. And this callback function remembers, and I want to take this out just to see. This callback function remembers the correct context, and I can have callbacks now inside of my class. Time out. And actually, oh yeah, so a great point has been made in the chat. And actually, when I was designing this scenario in my head to do this in this video, this is actually not the way I wrote it in my head. I meant to not get rid of the countit function. So let me just put that back for a second. So I'm going to rewrite this a little bit, which I think will be a little bit more clear. And I'm going to keep this in the countit function. I actually am going to make a variable called this.wait and have it equal to wait. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a new function, and I'm going to call it start. And there I'm going to say this.count. So this is kind of what I meant countit. I just rewrote this, but in I think a slightly more clear way, because now I'm creating a counter object. It has a starting counter, has an amount of time to wait, and a DOM element associated with it. It has a function which will always increase the count and put the count in the DOM element. And then it has the start function is what, and this should say, by the way, I'm forgetting the this.wait. But here, this would break, once again, let's just put this back to function. Right? This totally makes sense. Set interval, this function, count it with this amount of weight. And I'm going to say counter1.start and counter2.start. And by the way, I could make an array of these, all with random starts. Counter3.start. Now let me run this. Uncaught. Counted is not a function because it's forgotten. Function is because it gets kind of globalized. It forgot about the current actual context of this. And it's just referring to window. Replace it with the arrow syntax. And now, ta-da! There we have our counter objects all counting separately. So I hope this helped somewhat make some sense of the arrow function. There's so much more to the arrow function. And I will talk about that in a next series of videos. I'm going to look at some scenarios where using the arrow function in connection with array functions like map, reduce, and filter could be helpful to you. So just to double back for a second on being completely, totally, though that sort of like one line way of writing this, I could actually get rid of these brackets and this semicolon, right? Because I can just now do this. So in theory, if you like to write code like this, this should also work. Let's refresh. Yeah. So this is now a way to write this in one line. I've completely confused myself. Looking at this, I kind of have no idea what's happening. Let me see if I can understand it. I want to set an interval. And what I want is for this.countit to happen every this.wait amount of time. Okay, kind of makes sense. It's a little bit cryptic and weird because there's no arguments inside these parentheses, but we'll see what happens when we put arguments inside those parentheses in another video. Thanks for watching. I hope this context somewhat helps, and I'll probably come back and remake this video someday. Because here's the thing, this is the first time I've ever taught about arrow functions, and I only really learned about them a couple weeks ago, so just, be kind. Okay, and not to, but to everybody, please, in the world, be kind. All right, talk to you soon. Goodbye. All right, how did I do, everybody? I don't think I can remove this. Someone's saying I can remove this, but that won't work, yeah. That won't work because it's not, what you kind of want to do is this, and that won't work because we've lost track once again. So the only way to do it is here. All right. Really? All of this and I could have just done this? No, thank goodness. This also lost track of, this does not work as well. Yeah, I could have done this. Right? There we go. I don't know, is that better? I don't know. No, right? Aren't I supposed to use the arrow function now, not bind anymore? Somebody tell me. Somebody help me out with this. I'm gonna get this in the comments, aren't I? Alka, I see Alka is typing. I will get an answer. No code. Yes, there will be a coding challenge today. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna put this back to like this. All right. It's 5 o'clock. All I did was arrow function. Wait. Bind is ugly. I agree. Okay, let's. All right, so we got to move on here, everybody. We got to move on. Oh, here. That's me. That's me. Where am I? Okay. So let's see. What can I do now? We got to do some coding challenge stuff. So I wanted to do word to vec. And I wanted to do let's do the circle morph. I'm going to actually do the circle morph in an easy way. Famous last words. All right, so I'm going to say this. Let me do a workflow video. I want to do a workflow video. Here's the thing. I got to do this because this is making me crazy. And you guys can give me some advice here. So I have this playlist. And I put this, oh no, sorry. Here.
Hello, I'm here to
Oh, look, it's my ad. So here I put this 1.2 p5.js with brackets as a maybe I'll just show people how to use brackets because the desktop editor is deprecated, the web editor isn't really released yet. People who are beginners who are just starting to work with p5, what should I have them use? So I tempted to use CodePen, but that's going to have its own set of issues once you start to build out larger projects. So I made this video with brackets, and almost all the comments are I can't get it to work. Because the way the P5 download now is different. So what I'm thinking is it crazy? I mean, I hate to have all these steps for a beginner. But maybe I just have to admit that this is the case, and it's time for me to make the workflow video to end all workflow videos, and to use install node npm -g install p5 manager. So then you can say p5 generate -b, sketch name, open with Atom, and then what? No, HTTP server with node, simple Python server, or Atom live server package. Is there a better, for the total beginner, starting point than this? Maybe just download the, from p5.js from the website, but it comes with this weird directory structure. So I'm curious for some advice and comments. So let me see here. CodePen has a special editor for larger projects called projects. iTerm. Oh boy, I forgot about iTerm. P5 Manager also has a local host. I'm not even on the screen right now. So I think I'm going to try, this isn't going to be the most beginner-friendly workflow video, and I won't go through all the steps to install P5 Manager because I have a separate video. Wrap on a Docker layer. Yeah, no, I don't think. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to erase all this now, and I will probably rewrite it. That was me thinking it through. One thing I want to look at with the P5 Manager is when you generate a project, how does it get which version of the P5 library? Because I noticed it wasn't getting the most recent one, I don't think. So Cloud9 is great. So I kind of want to do, though, here's the thing. I don't know why I'm saying this, because there's also Glitch. Glitch is fantastic. I kind of don't want to use an online editor. Eventually I will use the P5 web editor and make other videos with, but it's true that actually my students here at NYU are kind of at the point in the semester where a lot of them want to work offline. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to quit everything on this computer. And here we go. Here we go. So hello, this is me again trying to make a workflow video. I've made a bunch of them, but I always get lots of questions and there are always problems with them. So I am now going to make a video that describes my entire workflow. Even though I have pieces of this in other videos, I'm going to do it all in this video. You could be watching this video as you're just starting to learn to program. This isn't the most beginner-friendly way to just type your first line of code because I'm going to have a bunch of steps. But at some point, I will also come back and show you some other editors that you can kind of be up and running immediately with. So and by workflow, I want to make a p5.js sketch. I don't want to do it in you might want to do this. I want to do this also, but at the moment, I want to do this locally on my computer, this laptop thing, without a cloud-based editor. So let me talk about the pieces of the puzzle that I need. Things that I need is, I need to get some project files. I need all of these files. Can you let me start over here. Timeout. Timeout, everybody. Let me find these paper towels. This is just, I cannot bear such a dirty whiteboard. And also have to get myself to not write so high up there. This is going to help my mental sanity. It takes me a while to sort of like get comfortable is what happens. At the beginning of these live streams, I'm always just so uncomfortable. I'm still uncomfortable. Who am I kidding? Let me talk about all the pieces that you need. Okay, so one thing you absolutely need is a working whiteboard marker. One thing that you absolutely need, oh, look at that, beautiful, is project files. Now, to make a p5.js sketch, or really any JavaScript program, web page thing, actually all you need is an HTML file. Because you can write HTML, index.html. You can write, can you see this? Yeah, you can see this. You can write everything, you can write all your JavaScript and everything in there. But that's not so convenient. It's kind of nicer to just have the HTML stuff that you need in there, and you need a sketch.js file. So you need these project files. We could just make these from scratch and type what we need into them, but generally we want to get like some sort of template from somewhere. So that's one thing we need. Another thing we need a text editor. We need something that we can open up these files. And by the way, we could have more files and project files and CSS files and image files, video files, but at a bare minimum, this is what we want. We need something where we can edit those files. You know, you could use just about anything. You use TextEdit or Notepad or anything really. I tend to use something called the Atom editor. It is an open source text editor, I think put out by GitHub. There's also a text editor called Sublime Text, which is quite wonderful. There's a free version, but it's also commercial software that you can pay for. There's like Visual Studio people tell me they love, and the list goes on. There's lots of them. Everybody has their own favorite text editor. You can say which one is yours in the comments. So we need this. And then the third thing we need is a server. So here's the thing. These are the files. This is how we write our code in the files. How do we see what we ultimately want to do is see the result in a web page. And it is true that if you just on any computer double click index.html file, it will like pop up and open it in the browser. But what you might end up seeing is that it's opening it with this path in the address bar, file://. And what we want to do is open it with this path, http://. Basically, we want to make sure that we are simulating the actual real world way that someone on the internet would view this web page, which is they would view it served up on a web server. So we want to run a little web server on our local computer to be able to look at it in the browser. And there are lots of options for that. I could run a Node server. What's Node? Oh my goodness. I could run a Python server. What's Python? Oh my goodness. I could use like an Atom server package, right? There's all these different possibilities. So, and I forgot to mention, there's lots of ways you could get your project files. You could just have a friend of theirs who could say, hey, do you have any P5 sketches? Can you email me one? And then you could just edit there. You could just copy paste like 100 times. So you have 100 project folders. I'm going to use a tool called P5 Manager. It's a little bit of overkill right now because it might be easier just to say, hey, just download. And I'll put a link in this video's description to a zip file where you can just download a blank P5 sketch. But I'm going to use this tool called P5 Manager, which has a little command line thing you can type and it generates the project files for you. So I'm going to use P5 Manager to generate the project files. I'm going to use a text editor to open the project files. I'm then going to type my code into the project files. I'm then going to run a local server and then look at the beauty that is my results. Does that make sense? Again, I'm trying to make the workflow video to end all workflow video. It covers all the pieces. I mean, there's so much more, but this is kind of what I use. All right, let's go over this way. All right. Right. And I know, by the way, there's lots of online editors and CodePen and Glitch, and there's a new one coming out from p5.js soon. So there's so many possibilities, but this is a way of working. Just one. All right, so now here we go. How do I how do I use this P5 manager thing? Well, first of all, you have to feel a little, if you're on a Mac, you've got to feel a little comfortable using terminal. If you're on Windows, somebody in the chat tell me what you do on Windows. So you've got to run this piece of software called terminal. It's usually in applications utilities, and it looks something like this. Then you could just magically type p5 generate -b my project. No, you can't. So here's the thing. This is the command that I type. What this command means is, hey, generate a P5 project. I want it to be a bundle. I can talk about what that is, and I want it to be called my project. The thing is, I'm gonna just pretend there's something called x5. You're gonna see this x5 P5 command not found. When I do this, it's actually gonna work. Whoops. Just ignore that. P5 generate -b my project. This is actually going to work when I do it because I've installed P5 Manager already. And you can see what this did. It created a folder called my project, and it gave me sketch.js, index.html. And by the way, I kind of forgot something important now I'm realizing is I also need all those library files. You actually don't need the library files locally because index.html can like point out to a URL to get the P5 libraries. And you'll see that in a lot of examples and things. But the P5 manager will actually give you those library files locally. All right, here we go. Now, okay, so how do you install this P5 manager? One thing is I do have a video where I go through how to install this in more detail. But I'm going to do it here anyway. But I'll link to that P5 manager video as well. So the thing that I need is a piece of software called Node. And Node is a JavaScript runtime built on Chrome V8 JavaScript engine, blah, 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 blah. It's a thing that lets you run JavaScript programs on your computer and on servers and lots of other places. So you're going to want to download this and install it. And you'll know that it's working. One of the things you can type, by the way, in terminal is clear, and then it'll clear everything. You'll know that it's working if you just type Node and you get that there. So pause this video, install Node, go back to your terminal, type in Node, see if you get this. And you can do things like 5 plus 7, oops, 5 plus 7, and it gives you 12. So you can run a little JavaScript, and I'm going to hit Control-C, and to exit again, press Control-C again. I'm going to hit clear. So once you have Node installed, you need to use something called npm. You've already got it installed, and to install the P5 manager, you have to say npm install P5 manager. Now here's the thing. You also want to say -g. What this means is I want to install this thing called P5 Manager as a global thing for my computer. I want to be able to always type P5 Manager wherever I am. I'm going to hit enter. It might have a problem. It might. Well, I've already installed it, but I'm going to let it kind of go anyway. And I got an error. So here's the problem. I forgot that in order to install something globally on my computer, I have to say sudo. Okay, what am I doing, by the way? The up arrow allows you to scroll through previous commands. So I can go back and find this command, and I'm going to now say sudo, which stands for super user do, which will give me the permission to install it. Oh, I have to type in my password. I don't know what my password is. There we go. Wait, now. I think I'm now having I did the same shtick in a different video. So it's installed, so that's great. I'm going to hit clear, and now I can, so here's the thing. I can now use that P5 command, and look, it's telling me I'm running P5 Manager 0.3.2. I don't know why the color became all weird here. I selected something. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to just pretend that's not happening. Now here's the thing. Where do I want to make my project? Well, let's say I just want to put the project on the desktop. Here's a command that's useful for you. pwd, print working directory. And you can see this is the directory I'm in, user/processing. My username is processing on this particular login. Should probably be coding train or whatever. But now I can say cd for change directory. Like maybe I just want to go to the desktop. So now if I say pwd, here we go. And guess what? Let's say I actually want to go to some weird folder on my computer. if I go and say like, oh, there's this like coding train folder that has Frogger2, and I want to put something in there, I can actually just drag the folder into here, let go, and that's the whole path. Users, processing documents, old desktop, PCD, coding train, Frogger2. So I don't need anything to do that right now. I'm going to hit Control C, and the camera went off the moment I hit Control C. And I'm just going to say clear. I'm going to say pwd. I'm on the desktop. And now I'm going to say p5 generate -b. B stands for bundle. P5 will actually generate you this whole like file system management for the P5 manager for a lot of different sketches. I personally just like to generate one sketch at a time. So that's what -b does. -b coding train 1. So here we go. Hit enter. It created all those things. And now, just to be sure, I'm going to minimize all my windows. And look at this. On my desktop is this folder called coding train 1. And it now has index.html, sketch.js, and all the library files that I need. Step 1 is done. Again, just one way to do that. You just need these files. You can make them from scratch. You can download them from somewhere. You can copy them from a previous project. But step 1 is done using P5 Manager. Now I need step 2. So again, so many different possible text editors. Let's use the Atom editor. So Atom editor is a piece of software you can get by going to, I don't know, atom.io. And you can see here's the Atom ID. Oh! In the wrong window. The Atom software is a piece of software you can get by going to atom.io. And you can do download for whatever your operating system is here. You can see this is kind of what it looks like. It is a text editor. Hooray. I already have Atom installed. So I'm going to go down here and I'm just going to use the search bar to type in Atom. So I'm going to run the Atom application. It's open. It already has opened a bunch of things. It won't look like this for you. That's unfortunate. Let me try this again. Close this. How can I make it... how can I make it launch for the first time again? Probably like in the, well, that's good. In the preferences, like open empty editor and start. Let's see. Previously automatically saved project state detected. Oh, I don't know. Editor. Oh, heck. Well, I'll just live with it. It's going to have some welcomey stuff for you. That's fine. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just find Atom on the computer, and I'm going to, I've already downloaded, open it. And you can see it's just opening this blank page. You'll probably see some like welcome messages and stuff, but I've used it quite a few times, so it's just opening to something blank. And then I can do File, Open. I can go to the desktop, and I can just select this coding train folder, and I can press Open, and then boom. We can see here in the left pane, these are my files, and this is blank, and I can click on Sketch, and I have the code ready to go. So if I add something like background 0, and let's make it like a green color, just to be sure this is working. All right, I've added some code. Now, I am going to do what? I'm going to throw caution to the wind. And I'm going to, don't do this, don't try this at home, double click this index.html file. And it worked. So this is okay. It's a very bad habit. Please, please, please. It's making me so uncomfortable, and it's all green and bright. But you can see here, this is what I'm trying to avoid. It opened the HTML page via the file system. And while just drawing a green background, it had no problem with that, there are many other areas where you could have a problem. So what I really want to do is run a local server. Now, we're now done with step 2. So now I need to go to step 3. What local server should I run? I have a video I made a long time ago where I ran a Python server. I think I used a Node server in another one. I think I might have used the Atom Live server package. I don't know which to use. You know what? The P5 manager comes with its own server. Let's see if we can use that. I'll show, and in fact, I think I'll just show you a bunch. So one thing I can do, I got to open terminal back up. One thing I can do is, first of all, I want to be in the directory of my sketch or in a directory above. Actually, it would be fine. Let's just run I don't know. Let's change into the directory. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit clear again. So I could type some commands to run a local server. For example, this is a command if you have Python installed on your computer, which a Mac will, and it's probably easy to download and install Python on a PC. That is now running a local server. And if I go to the browser and type in localhost :8000, localhost meaning like I want to connect to google.com or yahoo.com, but instead of that web server somewhere off in the internet, I want to connect to localhost, the web server running on this laptop right here, and 8000 is a port. So when you connect to a web page, it's usually on the default port 80 and you don't specify it, but this local server, it told me right here, it's running it on port 8000, so that's why I knew to type 8000. There is another Node package I could install, sudo npm install -g http server. I think that's what it's called, .server, -server. So I could install this Node package, I already probably did, and then I could say http server, and now it's running a server, there it is. 8080, there it is. It's running a server 8080. And you can see this is my local IP address. So now I could go there and put this, and I'm running the sketch. Oh, so many things. Guess what else I could do? P5 has one, like P5 server. Look at that. It started a server at port 555. There's so many options for servers. It's amazing. :555. Oh my goodness. Look what this did though. I don't know. Oh boy, it's giving me some sort of fancy something or other. Oh boy. So now I'm a little bit lost. All my projects would be to the left. I might need to go, oh boy, up. So the P5 server does something fancy. Timeout. I need to create a collection to run the P5 server. So I guess it doesn't work for standalone projects. Let's back that up and let's, so those of you watching the live stream, you'll get a little extra tidbit there. You can use the P5 manager in fancier ways, but I'm going to, Mathieu, we will stop at this and go on to the next server option. Another thing that I could do is a lot of these text editors will come with a special plugin or by default of a menu option which says like preview, run live server, that type of thing. Brackets is one that I did a previous video on that has a little button that you press which is for a live preview and it runs a server. So Atom, one of the things you can do with Atom is you can, under here there's packages. Now you'll see I already have dev live, no. Actually I don't have it. So this is perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, can I install a live server package with Atom? So packages, so Atom I want to go to preferences. It's hard for you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to preferences. And then I want to go to install, which is right here. Install. And then I want to look for, I'm going to search for live server. Dev live reload. Oh, maybe that's what, oh no, Atom. So this is a server, something that I've installed, dev live reload. Maybe that does the trick too. Atom live server is what I was thinking of. So I'm going to click install. And it's going to do something. This takes a little while, I guess. Hello. Let's try this dev live reload one. Oh no, it installed. It installed. Okay, it installed because I know that because now it says uninstall or disable. And now I can go back to where? Here? I don't know. Packages, live, Atom, auto, indent, bracket. Wait. Oh. Ah. Do I have to restart Atom? I have to restart Atom. Then I'm going to packages. Where's the live server thing? Hold on. Preferences. Install. Live server. It's there. Atom live server. No? How come I'm not seeing it? Does it go somewhere else? I guess, by the way, I should just use this one because it seems that it comes with it. Does anybody know if dev live reload comes with Atom? So I don't even have to install it. Control Alt L. Everybody's telling me their own way of doing it in the chat. It's dev live reload. Okay. Oh, maybe that's what it is actually. It's just called that now. Is that what it's called now? I don't know. Hold on. Let's be sure about this. Ah. Why is life so hard? If I delete Atom, this is a terrible idea, and re-download it. If it's by Atom, then I think it's default. Nope, this computer's gonna run out of power. All right, come on. And now let me try running Atom again. I don't know if that actually wiped my install. Yes, I want to open it. I don't think it did. It still has all my settings. I just deleted the application. It's an internal Atom dev thing. But why is the live server package not showing up here? Atom live server. Let's just run it. No, yeah, this is reload all styles. This is something else. Do I mean I have to enable it? Right, because here, packages, I have this. Oh, somebody, you guys use the shortcuts. Yeah, that's nice that there's shortcuts, but I'm happy to use shortcuts, but I would like to demonstrate running it without them. Packages. All right, well, let's at least try the shortcut. What was it again? Control. Yeah. I've always seen it here when I've have it installed. Totally lost it here. QMap. Right. Key bindings, enable. Control-Alt-3 does it for 3000. Disable this if you want to bind your own keystrokes. I don't really want to do that. All right, I guess I should use what was it? Alt Command 3? No. Control Alt 3? No. Well, I'm stumped here with this live server thing. Control P, Command P. No. Do I have to have like be in an HTML file for it to? Fine. Window, selection, view, edit. First command, then Alt, then L. And 1. It's not working for me. All right, maybe I should just give up on this live server package thing. Preferences. Rotates. Packages. Disable. Enable. Why is this making me crazy? Oh. Thank you. Compile for an earlier. Oh. Oh, rebuild package. Thank you. That was the problem. Ah, there we go. All right. Thank you, Andrea. I'm sorry I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. There we go. Okay. So now, packages. Oh, look. I don't know where this is going to pick up from. Packages. Now I have that installed. I can just go to Atom Live Server, Start Server. There are keyboard shortcuts to automatically launch it, but I'm going to launch it here. And boom, there it is. And there's another local server at this address and that port. And what's interesting about this now is, look at the green color. I'm just going to go to my code, and I'm going to add this color, and I'm going to hit Save. And then I'm going to Alt-Tab to the browser. It's live reload. So as I change the code, like, okay, well, actually, I just wanted a 600 by 400 canvas. And I want to have like a random something. I don't know. You can see it's continuously reloading the page for me, which is wonderful. So, okay, to recap. Oops. To recap, all the pieces that I'm using are, I'm getting my project files from P5 Manager, which is a Node module. So I need to download and install Node so I can write some terminal commands with Node. I am using a text editor. I happen to be using Atom, but any text editor will do. Then I want to view the results of my code in the web browser, so I need to run a server. Now someday you might watch a video where I explain how to program your own server for all sorts of interesting things, and I'll link to those videos as well. You can write your own Node server, but you can use a built-in Node server. You can use a built-in Python server if you have Python. You could look for a plugin for your text editor. I'm sure the comments of this video will be filled with lots of other suggestions of how to run your own server. There's a couple important things that I want to point out. By the way, can someone tell me what I should recommend is sort of like the equivalent for terminal on Windows? It probably came through, but I missed it. So here's something really important. Something that you might notice in a lot of my examples is I have this other pane open in the browser where I can see error messages or I can do console log statements. And the way I'm doing that in Chrome, it's different in different browsers, is under View, Developer, JavaScript Console. So if I click that, the JavaScript console, it now pops up over here. And you can see Adam is even talking to it because it's saying, hey, I've got the live reload enabled. So one thing, the couple important points about this. Number one is it might not appear there for you. It might be on the bottom. You can pop it out. You can kind of control where it goes somewhere. Here, no, here. Here? Yeah. You can look right here and you can say, oh, I could put it on the bottom or I could pop it out. So that's one important thing. Another really key thing, and depending on what the server you're using is, but I like to keep something checked. If I go here under Settings and I scroll all the way down to Network, this is a pretty important setting. Disable cache while dev tools are open. This is a setting you want to have checked because sometimes browsers, they really like to remember stuff. They like to say, you know what, you're asking me to do something. You asked me to do this a while ago. I'm just going to do what you asked me a while ago because it's faster. But if you're changing your code a lot, you don't want it to by accident run your old code. So this will disable its ability from caching some previous version of your code and running that instead whenever these JavaScript console is open. So if you have that set, you will never have that problem. And I can just go, and I wasn't having that problem because the live reload is probably, I can change all these colors and it's changing my code. But that's an important sort of detail there. All right. Other question that I'm sure a lot of you are asking is if you're using Windows, what do you use as the equivalent of this terminal application? So there is just the command prop on Windows. There are also some, I'm reading the chat here, some things that you can install like Cygwin, Cygwin. There are some other tools like you can install the Linux file system. Maybe in Windows 10 it actually does this for you. Woof, I have no idea. I'm lost. So if somebody writes a helpful comment about what to do for your terminal in Windows, I will pin that comment to the top of this video's page. So maybe look for there and see if that's there. What else am I forgetting? I'm going to pause for a second and check the chat to see if I've missed anything and before this video ends. Yeah, git bash is a good suggestion. Okay, let me look. All right, I'm looking at the chat here just to see. Yeah, how do you use p5 git bash. Yeah, that's another. The chat is telling me that git bash is also an excellent tool for Windows. It's actually one that I've used before. So you can download something called git bash. I will include a link to that as well in this video's description. All right, I think I've covered everything. Just to like, I feel like I should do a whole video just on the console alone. But so maybe I'll do that. But just to like at least put something in there, I can do stuff like console.log, mouse X. If I put that into my code, what I'm going to see is I'm going to be able to debug the value of the mouse as I'm running it. And if I have some kind of error, like I misspell background and don't put the D on the end, you can see uncaught reference error, background is not defined. So this is where it's saying sketch.js line number 6. So I can go back and see line number 6, that's where my error is. So that JavaScript console is really a useful tool to get used to using and practice using. So I hope this video didn't end up being super long, and I hope that you found it helpful. And I'm sure I'll end up remaking this again because workflows and tools and technologies to just change constantly. And thanks very much for watching. All right. How are we doing, everybody? I'm not staying hydrated. Oh, there's my water bottle. I need to go fill it. I couldn't find it and I thought I'll be fine. All right. What do we got here? What else we got here? It's getting close to 6. We're running out of steam a little bit. Okay, circle morphing, we got to do that. I did this. Oh my God, did I really do that? It was kind of horrific. Oh, and I want to do the word to vec stuff. That might have to come next. I should do at least one more of these. Let's do the circle morphing. Let's do the circle. Oh, I forgot about like all those other packages. You know, can I ever do everything in a video? Impossible. Mathieu, if you want to splice this in towards the end, you can. There are also, by the way, in addition to that live server package, a lot of other useful packages that you can install that modify how Atom behaves. Syntax color for different programming languages and things. One that I use quite a lot is Atom Beautify, and you can map the key. And so I guess I got to come back and do another video about Atom packages if that's of interest, but I'm going to leave that here. All right, let's do some circle morphing. Let's go to github.com. Golan, Levin, Golan probably? No. Golan, Levin, circle morphing. Hey, look at that. Golan, Levin. Wait, what are all these other URLs? Apple to Orchard, Feed Tonic. Fascinating. So let's go to repositories, circle morphing. Okay. So I could certainly do this one. I was thinking actually of, let me find my, I think the paper towel is better at erasing than, so maybe I should do, maybe I'm going to do two. So maybe I'll do one where I compute all the points of a circle. That I know how to do. How do I compute very quickly and easily all the points of a triangle? Ugh. I liked doing the square before. So let's say the circle has 90 points. Each side of the triangle would have 30 points, but no, 3 of those points are shared. Oh my goodness, am I really gonna have to look at Golan's code? And then I gotta like, so the side, this is the reason why, what I wanted to do actually is, so let me think about this for a second. All right. Is it okay to, we'll do a little bit of like pre-planning this video. So that's an equilateral triangle. This is a circle. So this would be the point at 90 degrees this way. And then this would be the point at, right, is that perfectly, that's not half, right? Because this is 60 degrees, 60 degrees. Those points, if I look, are they at 30 degrees or at 45 degrees? Super shape. I also have a super shape. Also do a super shape morphing. Yeah, that could be good. Minus 30. Yeah. Right? Because isn't this 60 degrees is right? Okay. So wait a second. So if this is 60 degrees, and this is half, this would be 30, right? Yeah, and this is 30. So I'm looking for those points. The way I was thinking of doing it was just randomly deleting all the other points and having it collapse onto itself. That's one way of doing it. The other way would be to calculate the perimeter path for the triangle as well. That just seems like such a pain in the neck. There must be an easy way to calculate the perimeter of an equilateral triangle around a center point, right? How would I do that? I can start here. I know I need to get here. So I can just calculate all the points along the line between those two. I guess that's what I would do. All right, let me think about this. Hold on. Somebody in the chat is giving me a good suggestion. Stop using degrees and use spread. See rational trigonometry. Oh. That's probably a good idea. Just rotate by 123 times for the points. That's also a good idea. You need to use super shapes to create a triangle. Oh, that's clever. Oh, I see. That is a really good point. All right, hold on. Alka is giving me an excellent suggestion. Let's see if I can understand this. Just like, Alka's going to make me appear that I'm smart. Yeah, because what we could do is, of course. But Alka, isn't that the, those are the points for, that's the points for the circle, isn't it? What, the code that you just pasted. And it is using sine and cosine just underneath the hood with the rotator. Right? That wouldn't do a triangle, a circle, yeah. So I need, so that I have good awareness in my head. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna, the funny thing is I did this before and I never released it because it was kind of a disaster. So I'm gonna use Bezier curves. I know, oh, that's a cool idea. There's so many great ideas. But I want, you could say count equals 3 for a triangle. Yes, but I want all the what I want to do, this is what I want to do. I think for the most basic way to teach this is to, the most basic way to teach this is to, maybe I don't want to do it this way, but is to, let's say I do the circle and it's this many points. So this is, right? It's, let's say I make the circle and it is, oh, I think I know what to do now. I think I have an idea of what to do. But so basically I can compute these points around this path, but I want to compute this point for this one, this point for this one, and this point for this one. So that way I can move these around. So if I do this, this is starting from here. If I do this 6 for 60 degrees, if I calculate all of these points and then all the equivalent number of these points, then I could do the same thing for here and the same thing for here, and I just need 2 arrays. And then I need to work with both those arrays. All right, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Yeah, and I can use lerp, right, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. So I can just, as I calculate this point, this is like, if this is 10 degrees, that's 1/6. I just need to go 1/6 of the way. Ha! Ha ha! Ha! Okay, here we go, everybody. So we're going to make this coding challenge happen. Circle morphing. Remember how I was going to do webcam painting? Everything started, it all made so much sense earlier today. 120, I think I do mean 120. No, I want to do 60 plus 6, oh yeah, 120. 120 everybody, 120, 120. All right, here we go. Circle morphing. All right.
Later in the video, there's a few sound problems when I come in. One shape to the next. I particularly like this one by Wushis. Here, he has a circle. This one, that's not. I subsample it. I only wanted. Okay, so that's number 5.
Hello. You're watching a video where I'm watching a video. Look, that's Golan and that's me last week. Look, I trimmed my beard. If you didn't watch this video before, Golan, a guest here on the Coding Train, gave a wonderful lecture about interpolation in from an art historical perspective, and then showed 10 different ways of morphing from a circle to a triangle. So now, in this video, I had to close that, and there's a GitHub repository, which I will link to, which has 14 different ways. Why did I say 10? So many different ways of transforming a circle into a square. Now, I actually, if you can believe this, my phone is ringing. Stop. Watch. Go away, everybody. I haven't looked at the code for any of these. And so what I want to do, and I have done this before, I failed at it miserably. I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to just try 2 different techniques. In this video, I am going to try to transform from a circle to a triangle. And the constraint that I want to give myself is that I only want to work with begin shape and end shape and a perimeter of points around a circle. And then I want to be able to take that perimeter and make it into a triangle and come back. There's lots of different ways I could do that. The first way that I'm going to do that is just work with the exact same number of points, but define the shape of the triangle and then move the points around. And this is what unlocks a ton of creative potential. Because the points could spring back and forth, they could mix themselves up, they could use some kind of fancy bouncing easing algorithm, they could twirl, but I'm just going to like move them from one spot to the other. So I'm going to set up a template from which you could be creative and you can make your own circle morphing example. You could tweet it with a GIF or whatever, any way you like. Okay, so let's get started doing this. All right, pause, time out for a second here. What do I want to say here? p5.js circle morphing. Okay, so cd circle morphing, python-m simple HTTP server, let's open it up in Atom, desktop circle morphing, open, and let's get the code going. Let me say create canvas 400 and background 20. And this always drives me crazy. This like, I'm gonna change my template and make this a little bigger and put in the JavaScript console. And now here we go. All right. Okay, so let me come back. All right, first, actually, before I go over there, one thing we could notice here is that the points of an equilateral triangle rest on the circle. And if I just sort of for a second think of this as 0 degrees, this is 120 degrees, this is 240 degrees. So again, I have to think of it, maybe I should start with this is -90. I should be a little more thoughtful about the math. But I think this is going to be useful because as I'm calculating these points, I want to calculate these points as well to create both of those perimeters at the same time. And there's so many different ways you could do this. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to pick the simplest, not the most elegant, beautiful, or accurate, just the simplest. Maybe it's not the simplest. I'm sure you could think of some simpler ways. But let's come back over to the code. Now, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to have 2 arrays. I'm going to say let circle path be an array. Let triangle, and I don't know why, but I'm feeling like I want these to be the same number of characters. So circle path and triangle path. I want arrays. I'm going to put vector objects. A p5 vector object is just an x and a y. So what I could do here in a really sort of simplistic way, just for a second, is I could, and let's change angle mode to degrees, just to like save ourselves some some pain. So I'm going to say for let angle equal 0, angle is less than 120, angle plus plus. Now, I probably want to have some sort of variable to keep track of like how many points. So maybe let's just make a variable, call it spacing right now. This is not great, but let's say we're going to do something every 10 degrees. Just have it be kind of low resolution right now. So I say angle plus equals spacing. So to get the points along a circular path, I can use polar to Cartesian transformation, which means that if I have a certain angle and a radius, I can calculate the xy here as x equals radius times cosine of the angle, y equals radius times sine of the angle. All right? So that's something that I definitely can do. That's how I want to create the vectors for every angle with a certain radius. Now here's the thing. I really would love to derive these formulas for you, but I will point you instead toward a video where I do that. It's a polar to Cartesian coordinate transformation video. Pretty sure I made one. So now if I come back over here, I'm going to say circle, let v, and let me just make this a so that it's not as long-winded. V, let's say v for vector equals, let me actually say let x equal, and I need some sort of radius. So radius, let's just say 100 for right now. X equals radius times cosine of the angle. Let y equal radius times sine of the angle. Let v equal create vector, and I'm being very long-winded here, x, y. And now I'm going to say circle path dot push v. So if I run this code and I look at circle path, I can see I have 12 vectors. And these are all the points. 100, 0, 98.48, 7, blah, 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 etc. You can see all these points here. Now, in theory, the next point, right, with the angle at exactly 120 would be, and this is a little bit silly that I'm going to do this because I definitely don't need to do it as 3 for loops, but I'm just going to divide it into 3 just for right now because I think this will help me. And then, and again, absolutely, all of you can think of magical ways. So now this should give me all the points. And honestly, let's comment these out. Because let's just go, well, I'm not going to get to that. Let's go to the draw part. And because let's at least look at how do I draw that perimeter. So now I want to say stroke 0, no fill, begin shape, end shape. Isn't there some fancy new ES6 way I'm supposed to iterate through an array? I equals 0, that's not even for each. I is less than circular path dot length, I plus plus. And now I'm going to say vertex. So let me say let v equals circular path index I. So I want to look at each of those vectors one at a time. What am I doing here? I want to say begin shape and end shape to draw that path. And I want to say v.x, v.y. So let's see, what do I get here? Oh, there it is. That's part of it. Why is it up there? I want to think about everything relative to the center of the canvas. So at the beginning, I'm also going to say translate width divided by 2, height divided by 2. All right, here we go. There, look, that's 120 degrees, part of a circle. Now, could I possibly get the triangle path as well? Let's see if I can. So I know that what I could do with the triangle path right here is I could say let A start equal 0, let A end equal 120, and then triangle path dot push. I guess I could. I'm just sort of working this out in my head, right? So I have X start, Y start, and this is very silly what I'm doing. X end, Y end. I'm just working this out. So I want the start and end of this line that's the side of the triangle. I want to start at 0 degrees and at 120 degrees. And so I need to do the start angle for the starting point and the end angle for the ending point. And then I want to say create vector xs, ys, and x end, y end. So I just want to, this is just me working out the math, right, of how do I get, I just want to get, this is like this point and this is this point. So if I do a path between those, I'll just draw a straight line. So there's so many ways this could be improved, but let's just see if this is right. Okay, well, I have to also draw the triangle path. And yeah, I guess I'll do that as a separate loop. Triangle path and triangle path. There we go. So you can see now, this, it's going all the way. I didn't have that loop go to the next angle, but the triangle side goes all the way that way. Okay, so I've got both. Now here's the thing. How do I want to do this? I want to figure out these points inside of this loop as well. So I think what makes sense is for me to actually say start angle equals 0, end angle equals 120. Start angle, end angle. Then I want to say start v equals create vector, radius times cosine of start angle. I just want to get those points. I'm going to kind of do it in one line. Radius times sine. But why is everything so complicated? Start angle. All right. So I want to get that start v and that end v, which will be end A, end A. So I think I created two vectors. And they're really, I could just call them start and end. This could be all, I wish I could. There's so many ways this could be improved, but I'm working it out. Okay, now, what I want to do is, let's just say, just to like sort of see what's going on here, what if I just say triangle path dot push start? So I'm just going to put that start in a bunch of times. We don't need this anymore. This was me just working it out. So if I run this, okay, nothing. But now, what if I use, there's a lerp function. So there's a lerp function, right? If I use the lerp function, if I have a start and I have an end, and I lerp between those two values by 10%, it's going to give me this point right here. And I could do that with a vector. I could use a lerp with the vector function, linear interpolation, to get 10% from one xy to another xy. So what I'm going to do now is say, so this should be the circle vector, and the triangle vector equals start, I think if I say start lerp, is it going to give me a new vector? I don't know. Let's see. Start lerp end, and I need, you know what I think I need to do? I need to say p5.vector. I want to say p5.vector.lerp, and I want to say I'm going in between the start and the end, and how far along am I? I'm a certain percentage, A, divided by end A minus start A. So the amount to lerp is whatever that angle is divided by end angle minus start angle. That's triangle vector. Okay? So this is now how I'm getting, it's kind of crazy. So I'm getting the circular path the traditional way. Oops. By calculating these points one at a time. And then while I'm doing that, I know this beginning point and this end point. So let me calculate these points along the way. And let's see if this works. Oh, property lerp of undefined. Hold on. Sorry. Let me undo this for a second. Hold on, I have to fake this. While I'm taking a break, let me see what horrible things people are telling me in the chat. All right, there's a whole other conversation going on that I will. So let me now, oops. So let me try to run this. Oops, hit refresh. Oh, uncaught type error. Sketch.js line 19. Oh, vectors. That's an easy one. It's just bot vector. Okay, I see the circle. So circular path. It has a bunch of vectors in it. That looks like it makes sense. Let's look at the triangle path. It has a bunch of vectors in it. They all look like they're the same point. Oh, I forgot to say the amount. Well, I spent all that time calculating the amount. I need to say lerp between the start and the end by a certain amount. Whew. Give myself a little more room here. Now let's try this one more time. There we go. Yay! Okay, so it looks like I have the side of the triangle. Oh, this is a lot of work. By the way, the nice thing about this is if you just do the path stuff once, you can kind of have it done for all the different ways you want to do your morphing. But that said, here we go. So now there's got to be a clever way I can go all the way to 360, right? And I could probably use modulus to change the start and the end, right? Yeah, and so by the way, there are all these great suggestions in the chat about how to do the morphing in a smarter way. And I'll get to that. But I'm going to do it this way, just as this is going to unlock, unlock all the potential. Wait, I guess I could just like copy paste this, but I can't bring myself to do this. So what I want to do is this. I want this to go all the way to 360. Right? I want this to go all the way to 360. And then I want the if angle mod 120 equals 0. Again, this is only going to work for a multiple, some number that's going to like get to 120, but that's going to be a multiple of one that's going to divide into 120 with a remainder of 0. If the angle mod 120 equals 0, then I should be able to say start A equals start A plus 120 and end A equals end A plus 120, right? I know I could do plus equals, right? I should be able to just move those, and then I also need to redo these, right? So by the way, I should really make a function. Let me just make a function. Polar to Cartesian. And it just takes an R and an angle, and it returns create vector. This is going to make our lives so much less awkward. R times cosine of the angle, R times sine of the angle. And I'm sure I could write that. I should write that with arrow notation, but I'm not going to. All right, so I just want to make this function because that way now I can just say, polar to polar, what did I call it? Polar to Cartesian. Radius start A. And end, this is at least end, radius end A. And then here also, I could say polar to Cartesian, radius A, right? So this sort of makes things a lot less weird. So hold on, let me just put this back to 120 just to see if this still works. What'd I do? Polar to Cartesian thing is not defined. I did some crazy typing. Oh, I pasted something in there I didn't mean to. There we go. That's still working. Now what I can do is I can make this 360 and I can just do this again. And reset these variables. What will this do? Yeah, yikes. I got close. So first of all, that's the wrong place. What is going on? Oh, it looked so nice to start with, and something crazy happened. So what am I missing here? If A modulus, now these are floating point numbers, so is it possible that something weird is happening? I don't think so. No. All right, what is wrong here? I need less than or equals. Do I? No, because, I mean, I know I won't get to the end, but I don't want less than or equals. Hold on. This chat is... Oh, no, well, yeah, A equals... Oh, I forgot about A. No. Hold on. I'm really thinking about this. You don't stop incrementing the start and end angles at 360. I don't... Oh, wait. No, this is right. Amount is this. Oh, you know what? This is no good. This A, this is the problem. Okay, this is the problem. I'm not a percentage of the way through. This A has to cycle. This should really be like I think, right? And then I want, and this should be I modulus 120. And here, I've got to say, let A equal I modulus 120. Because, okay, so why am I doing this? The problem is, I know I want to go all the way around from 0 all the way to 360. But I want to think of these as like 120 degree chunks. So that, oh, no. Oh, so the percentage of the way through is actually... okay, I'm even back. I have to calculate that percentage of the way through relative to 120, 240, 240 to 360. So coming back here, this is actually easier than I think. I was thinking about I had to change the variable, but A will actually work. All I need to do is just say A minus end A, right? Oh no, start A. So how far is A since the start compared to the end from the start? No! That's totally not right. All right, hold on. What did I mess up here? Okay. So if I just get rid of the triangle for a second, the circle is fine. It doesn't close, but that's fixable. The triangle, the start points, let's console log this. Let's take a look at this. 120, 240, 240, 360, 360, 480. Oh, well, that's fine. That's what I want. So I'm missing something else. So these points should be right. And the amount, let's console log the amount. Let's make the spacing really high, like 30. Right? Whoa. No. Why am I getting, I'm getting a negative number. Oh, don't tell me it's just because start A is wait, hold on. Why not just multiply the radius on the end of the vector? Yeah, and I could rotate it. You guys are all so smart. Is the missing semicolon on line 22? Yeah, okay, so that's what I should do. Right? Whoever said that in the chat, thank you, Yochem. This would make more sense also. Yeah, I had just some So hold on. What's going on? What's wrong with my triangle? Hold on. Whoa. What is going on? The endpoint is wrong somehow. I must have messed up something in this No. R times cosine of angle, R times sine of angle. Create vector. Angle mode degrees. Absolute value. What's going on? This makes sense. 25, right? Hold on. Let's draw. I have an idea. Let's say ellipse start.x start.y. Let's draw. This is at some point. I'm not sure this is going to just have to all get. What did I miss? See, this is what happened when I tried to do morphing before. Whoa, where? Oh, I got to give it some size. What is going on? I've lost it. Start.x, start.y. N.x, n.y. Right, I'm getting 2033. All right, hold on a sec. These are points. Start, end. So why aren't these drawing anywhere? All right, hold on a sec. Let's try this. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so things are correct in theory. Like, there's the triangle. How come I'm not getting the points in between correct? Because end angle. Is there something to the hold on. Is it because I'm going from like 0 to 360 and if I actually start from like -90 or something? No, I'm not drawing over it with background. Oh, this is in setup. Ugh. I'm sorry. I forgot that I'm in setup. Oh, I'm a doofus. Oh, that was a big waste of debugging. I'm trying to draw stuff and I'm in setup. Okay. So that works. That's the triangle. That's the circle. Why am I not getting the point? So let me, if I go here and let me... So is the lerp function failing me? So A modulus 120, so let's look, and the amount is right? This is what I'm printing. 0, 25%, 0.5, 0.75. So what is start? Maybe my understanding of the lerp function isn't correct, or maybe the lerp function is broken. So what if I said, let x equal, what am I doing here? I'm saying start I'm saying start dot n dot x times amount plus start dot x times 1 minus amount, right? Let me just do this manually. Right, that's what that's what this should be doing. Whoops. That worked. So the lerp function isn't doing what I think it should do. Let's look up the lerp function. Maybe we found a bug in P5. p5.js.org. Oh boy. Oh, it's 6:30. What is going on? What time do the Dodgers play? 8:20, right? Lerp. No, P5 vector. Lerp. See, V1, V2 amount. It's supposed to do that. So did we find a bug? Because what's... Right, let's just... Let me not draw these. I just want to draw these as points just for a second, just to see them. And I'm going to say stroke weight 2. That's hard to see. Hold on. All right, I'm going to... let me back up for a second. So I don't know where... get rid of this. I'm going to try to go to a point, Mathieu, where you can edit back to. And I'm pretty sure... kind of like around here would be good. And where... Okay. So something crazy happened here. I'm missing a semicolon somewhere that people are very upset about. Yeah, here. All right, hold on. Sorry. Hello, are you still watching? I can't believe it if you're still watching. That's amazing to me. Let me try to pretend I'm back in this video tutorial now. Okay, one major issue here is that this, I should say modulus 120, this angle. I know I was just talking about this in a different way, and then there's like probably an edit point, but what I want to do is just figure out, this is like 120, how far along from 0 to 1? And so if I always modulus by 120, I'll get values between 0 to 120. By the way, Golan Levin also did a video tutorial about modulus that you could watch. So if I have that here, whoa! Wait a second. It's fine. Did I just have a parentheses out of place? It was the semicolon all along? No. No, okay. Well, I don't know what just happened there. But I must have had something wrong that I actually don't know what it was. Somebody watching this video will tell me. But now, look at this. I've got the triangle and I've got the circle. By the way, one thing that I did is while I was trying to debug during the spot that got edited out, you can watch the live stream archive for the full thing, as I altered the spacing. Let me try this. Weird. I will not question it, but somehow it seems to be fine. And then what I want to do now, oh, whoops. I'm pushing these here. No, I should not be pushing those there. Hold on. That was another thing I was trying to debug. Oh boy. Oh, remember when I did the morphing challenge? The reason why I didn't edit it into a coding challenge is because it never worked. Wow, what is going on? This is so crazy. I'm still pushing from the debugging, I know. Yes, I do zone out and know that I'm not, that I forget that I'm live streaming, especially at times right now. Hold on a sec. All right, everybody. Let me debug this again. Let me go back to 30. And this is like some kind of crazy nonsense. Let me get rid of the circle. Let's just look at the triangle. That's not correct. This is not a triangle. N-shaped close would be nice, but now let me make sure, am I doing anything weird here? No. So what I want to do is also just do stroke weight 4. All right, hold on. Let me try to, Mathieu, let me try to get this to a point where maybe the debugging can actually make it in the video. So let me go back to here. Let me go back to here. This is not correct. Let's try to debug this. So let me comment out the circular path. Let me make the spacing a little bit higher. That is not a triangle. Let me look at what the points are. So one way I could look at the points is by saying, am I not getting the end point? Well, let's see. Let me look at the points by saying point Vx. Well, let me draw a circle actually. Let me just do a separate loop entirely. And let me just say fill 0, ellipse, v.x, v.y. This is going to end up being a long video with a lot of debugging in it. Look at those points. Those are the points of a triangle. So I'm clearly doing something correct. I have them in the wrong order. I must have them in the wrong order. So this must have something to do with the way I'm starting from 0 and going to 360 and the way that it's giving me different, all right. No, all this is right. All this is right. And where I'm getting my triangle start between start and end, that's still right. So I definitely have the right points. I should generate a 120 degree size and rotate. So why is the order? Let just out of curiosity, let's do this. Whoa. All right, if I'm just going from 0 to 120 now, let me take this out. Oops. Okay, something weird is going on where a modulus 120 equal to 0 is triggering. More quickly. So why? So hold on. Console.log a modulus 120. Let's look at this. 0, 30, 60, 90. That's right. Put this in here. Okay, let's say console.log. Oops. Oh, of course. Oh my goodness. Zero modulus 120 is 0. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. That was the problem. So, I only want this to happen when I don't want this to happen the first time. So can I even just say something as long as a is not equal to 0? Or, well, let's just do that right now as a fix. What was I doing now? Let's make this 360 again. So now what did I do? 90, 23. Oh wait, I need to put this back in. And so this happened again in a bad place. I'm going to figure this out. It kills me. Golan! Golan, Levin! I'm going to use my overhead camera again. This is yet again, I'm doing this. This is not, I'm going to do the deleting one. Just scrap this. Okay, hold on. Let me think here. So when I want to increase the start and the end, and add, and then not, but not on that round. So, so could I do it? Start at -120. No, that doesn't work. I want to, I mean, I could just do 3 separate sections. Plug the oh, yeah, my battery's getting really low, isn't it? I only have 1 power for these 2 laptops. I'm the worst programmer ever. Okay, let's see here. Let's think about this. So when it equals, well, hold on. Let's just do this. A equals 120 or A equals 240. These are the only times we want to do it. Why did I just do that? Whoops. That didn't work also? Right? Because then, oh no, because then it'll, as soon as A equals 120 and I add to it, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. No, but then it increases. This is fine. This is so weird. Let's go through this more methodically. A starts at 0. A goes up by 30, right? 0, 30, 60, 90, 120. So I know I don't, when A is 0, I don't want to add to it. So I corrected that. So then, once I get to here, I want to add to start and end. Oh, but I need to do it before. I need to do it when the next one. I need to anticipate it? Boy. Is it really as simple as just saying, if A plus spacing modulus 120 equals 0? Is that really what I want? There we go. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Good night. I'll see you next week on the coding train. Goodbye. Somebody was saying this in the chat all along. It's very hard for me to read that chat. All right, so I don't know how to correct this. If Mathieu can possibly make sense out of that. But maybe, okay, so let's recreate that moment in a fake way. All right, everybody? Just humor me, please. Humor me, please. So I'm going to go back a while. A long while. A long while. It's very dangerous what I'm doing here. We're going to debug that again. Oh, this is so bad. Such a bad idea. going to go back to where I said, we're going to recreate this moment. I'm even going to play the same bad music. But look, I've been here for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I haven't even morphed the shape yet. I haven't even morphed the shape yet. I'm going to erase this as if this never happened. I'm going to keep going back. I just want to go back to like where I really started having trouble. Which is like here. There we go. Remember this? Remember this? Remember this? Now I'm going to look like a really smart person who can debug really quickly. I should have copied the working code. You're absolutely right before I did all that undo. All right. All right, this is not correct. I have to debug this. I actually just debugged it, and now I'm in the future kind of go through what I debugged it, but it took me like probably like 45 minutes. No one wants to watch a 45-minute video. Let's figure out what's wrong. So first of all, I'm going to make the spacing. I'm going to make the spacing 30 so that it's less. There's less points to work with. I also just want to. I think I'm just going to not bother drawing the circle. So no circle, so I can just see the triangle is messed up. And okay, so what are some of the things that are wrong here? Okay, this is definitely wrong. This doesn't make sense. A divided by end A minus start A. So let me figure out why that's wrong. So if I'm going from 0 to 120, that's going to work because 60 is 50% of the way through. Now when I'm going from 120 to 240, 180 divided by 240 minus 120, no, I'm wrong. So I need to take 180 minus 120 actually. But another way of thinking of that is use the modulus operator. So because really what I want to do is go 0, 120, 0, 120, 0, 120. That's what I want to do. Golan Levin made a whole video tutorial also about the modulus operator that I will link to that you can watch. All right, so this, let's take a look at this. That is not a triangle. No, no, no. All right, so one thing we could do here that'll help a little bit is I could, let me just do this again. And let me draw little circles just to sort of see where those points are. And let me say fill 0. Yeah, look, how interesting. These points are kind of in the correct place, but the path is going crazy. All right, hold on. Hold on a second. Let's look here and let me because if I just go change this to 120, oh, that's not even right. Oh, hold on a second. Let's comment this out. Oh, that's right. There's something wrong with this modulus thing. Okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this. Let's say, what are the angles? They're 0, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, etc. What is 0 modulus 120? 0. So I don't want to all of a sudden add 120 to start and end right there at the beginning. Oh, that's a problem. So actually what I want to do is anticipate it. I don't want to do it here. 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 Before I get to the next one, I want to because I want to go from here to here. That's the first part. Then I want to move start and end to do the next part. So actually what I want to do, it's much simpler than all the other things I've been trying. I want to say a plus spacing modulus 120. Yep, oh, that looks right. Yeah, that's right. And so now I can do this. Ah! Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night. That's the end of this video. Goodbye. Thank you. Thanks for watching. All right, I can't believe, I don't know, what am I at? Like, how long have you been watching so far? I haven't gotten to the morphing yet, but this is good. We can go back. Oh, we're there. We're getting there. I'm sure Golan Levin did not have this much trouble. I can now put the circle back in. And I don't need to draw these little ellipses, although they're useful to see. And we now have the circle and the triangle. Now it's a little bit off. I could probably think about the angles more thoughtfully, but I'm just gonna, I'm not really feeling it right now. I'm just gonna rotate everything. I think by, what is it, 30 degrees? Here we go. So, and now you notice that those things haven't closed. That's no problem. I can just add this close parameter to end shape. And now I have the triangle and the circle, and I can go back to spacing of 10, and there we go. We now have the circle and the triangle. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now I need to do the morphing. Well, guess what? Remember all that time I spent figuring out how to do lerp? Well, I can use lerp here. What do I want to do? I'm going to have one more array, which is the, I'm going to call this more path for morph. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just decide, that in the beginning, I'm going to just make it a circle. So more path push that circle point. So I'm just going to make I'm just going to start as a circle. So and actually what I'm going to do now is I don't want to draw either of these. I just want to draw the morph path. Just want to draw the morph path, and I'm going to do that like this, morph path. And now, okay, there's the circle. Now, what are we going to do? I am going to say, and I'm going to use the lerp function, but I'm going to do the lerp for each x and y instead of the p5.vector lerp. I almost wish I had done that before. But for example, what if I say v.x equals lerp. Oh, I need the, okay, so hold on. Let C circle V, let's just, I'm going to use some sort of bad variable names, but CV is for circle path, index I. TV is for triangle path, index I. I guess I could make a new vector each time, but I'm going to say v.x equals lerp cv.x tv.x, and let me put 0 in there. I'm going to make a variable amount, and let's have the amount be happening up here. Let amount equal 0. Okay, so I'm going to lerp the x by an amount and the y by an amount. And you know what? This is so silly. I don't actually need a whole separate array. That's all this extra nonsense. It could be useful, but I'm going to do this in a really simple way. I just want to get an x and a y. So I'm going to say let x equal this, let x equal that. So I want to get a new x and a y, which is some amount in between those two, x comma y. So with the amount at 0, what do I have? All right, circle path. Where am I using more path still? Sketch line 20. Get rid of the more path. I don't need that anymore. So ready, my amount is 0. Semicolon. People are yelling at me. Semicolon, semicolon. Oh, and this should be a y. These should be y's. Circle. With the amount at 0, it's circle. With the amount at 1, it's a triangle. With the amount at 0.5, it's kind of halfway in between. Okay, now we're kind of done. We're kind of done. I could do whatever now. What I'm going to do though is let's smoothly oscillate between 0 and 1. So I'm going to make a global variable. Just call it, I'm going to call it theta, because I'm not using theta anywhere else. And I'm going to use the sine function. I'm going to say amount, where do I have that amount variable? Amount equals sine of theta, sine of theta. And theta plus equal 0.1. So the sine function gives us a value that oscillates between -1 and 1. -1 and 1. Oh, but I want a number that oscillates between 0 and 1. So what can I do there? I could use the map function, but probably really easily. I could just add 1 and divide by 2. So that's going to say -1 to... -1 to 1, adding 1 becomes between 0 and 2. Dividing that by 2 becomes 0 and 1. So here we go. Oh, what's happening here? Everything was going so well. Oh, do I have like no loop going or something? Hold on. Amount, let's console.log amount. Oh, it's just like really slow. It's just going really, really slow. It was working. Oh, because I forgot I'm in angle mode degrees and everything. I was thinking in terms of radians. So let's go up by 5. There we go. Woo. Let's make the stroke weight a little bit wider, thicker. I think I did it. I did the circle morphing challenge. So this is the most basic way. The thing is, this is all of the work, I think, because then now I could do all sorts of other ways of moving the points around. I could calculate them. I could start deleting things out of the array, adding things to the array. There's so many possibilities. I hope this is a video that makes some sort of sense, that you find useful in some way. I am going to do one more. You're going to see one after this that will be released at some point, where I'm going to do this in a really another way. It's one of Golan's versions, but I'm not sure which one, where I'm going to take one array and start deleting points. So I'm going to try that next. But make your circle morphing, and this will be on GitHub. You can add to the README to link to your own version of this. You can tweet with the hashtag circle morphing. You could try morphing a circle to a square, other shapes, so many possibilities. I can't believe how long this took me and how many problems I had, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, and good night. Oh, wait. Are there comments? Yeah, I could have used the map function. All right. Oh, okay. Also rotated. Ooh, that would be fun. All right, let's take the console log out. All right, everybody. We're going to do one more video. I'm going to circle morphing. I might just try to knock out a few extra things real quick. Oh, whoops. That was really painful, but fun. And now I am going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in a totally different way. Hold on, just bear with me. I'm going to delete some code. Oh, whoa, hold on. So an atom, I want to open up circle morphing. Come on, Atom. Circle morphing 2. Remember when I made that arrow function video? All right, I'm going to open up circle morphing 2. I'm going to get rid of the triangle path. I'm going to get rid of theta. I'm going to get rid of start and end. All this. I'm just going to go from 0 to 360. Spacing. And I'm going to get rid of all this. Get rid of all this. Oh, look how simple this one's going to be. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. All right, everybody. Hi again. If you made it through the previous coding challenge on circle morphing, wow, I'm amazed. If you didn't, that makes a lot of sense to me. You could be here anyway. This is going to be much simpler. Oh, famous last words. This is probably going to be like really complicated, and I don't know, check the time. Maybe this video is like 3.5 hours long. My glasses are all smudged. My hair is falling out. It's been like, I've been here for like 17 hours straight coding things. There's no windows in this room. Anyway, but here we go. Okay, let's see. So what do I have now? I have taken my last circle morphing coding challenge, and I've made this very, very simple sketch. There's very little code in it. It has an array called circle path. It has the spacing variable. It has a function to convert a radius and angle of the polar coordinate to a Cartesian coordinate, and then it just makes the circle path and draws the circle path. Here it is. And there's the circle. It's so nice. It's so lovely. It's so round and elegant and quiet, and I'm happy with it. Now, I want to turn this into a triangle, and I don't want to get lost in all this code like I got lost before. Let's figure out if we can do this in a simpler way. And one way I could do this is, this is all my notes from before, but if you think about it, remember, I have the circle, it's all these points. Then I have, think about a triangle, which is really just the path of these points. What if I just start deleting these other points? So eventually I'm left with, I have maybe like 90 points around, but I'm left with just 3 points. I think I could do this. So what I need to do is start deleting the points. So one kind of crazy thing I could just try, which I know won't really work, is I could say, I'm going to say here at the beginning of draw, I'm going to do 1 per frame, while circle path.length is greater than 3. Not while, if. If circle path.length is greater than 3, if there's more than 3 points, let's get rid of 1. So I'm going to say, let index equal floor random circle path.length. That's me picking a random index from this particular array. And I should do this at the end of draw, because I should at least draw it once with all the points. So let's do this at the end of draw. Oh, this is going to take, this video is going to be so short. I'm so excited. I didn't code the beginning part, but I did in the last video. Okay, so if I find that, then I'm just going to say circle path dot splice index 1. I'm just going to delete that. It's gone. I'm going to delete it. Let's watch this now. Whoa, I got a triangle. So every single time, this is kind of like morph to be a triangle, but it's not the equilateral triangle. So what I need to do is only pick a valid set of points. So what are the valid index values? Oh, so I need to have an array. I'm going to call it indices. La, 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 la. Indices, plural of index. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to say indices, I'm going to have a variable called let I equals 0. And I'm going to say indices dot push I. So I want to put all the index values that are in this array into a separate array. There's probably a better way to do this, but this is the way I'm thinking about it first. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of picking a random number, this is kind of nuts, I'm going to first, I'm going to use R, pick a random number that's part of the indices. Then I am going to, and so this is indices.length. Bear with me for a second. I think I might need to diagram this. Hold on. This can get edited out. It's me erasing stuff. Me doing my physical therapy, which is pushing on the wall. So what I'm doing is actually completely redundant and unnecessary, but it's going to allow me to do something else in a moment. So I have this array. You can imagine this is one array. Maybe it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements in it, 0 through 7. And these are all of those points. These are all the vectors, x, y, x, y, these 7 points. Now I make another array which just has 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in it. So now I can start saying, hey, let me take this out of here. What number is that? Oh, it's a 3. Go delete the third one. Okay, hold on. There's a problem here. If I'm removing things from the array, well, let me keep going with my thought here, and then I'm going to have to fix this probably. So what I want to do is only put the valid index values in here, and then I can skip the ones that are the points of the equilateral triangle. That's what I was going to do. This isn't actually going to work. Boy, I'm thinking this through and realizing it's not going to work the way that I hoped. Don't worry, we're going to get there. When we come back, let me explain why this isn't going to work. This was a nice idea, because what I was going to say is, so now if I pick the index is this particular element of that array, then I could splice it. This is going to cause all sorts of strange and weird problems. Oh, that was kind of fun. What just happened there? Index. Yeah, because, whoa. So I put all the, so what I wanted to do is say, what I wanted to do up here, just bear with me for a second, is if A modulus 120 is not equal to 0, then it's a valid index. I don't want to be able to delete. I have a better idea. Well, okay, no, hold on. I got to think this through. Someone's going to give me a good idea in the chat, probably. Right, we could just mark some points as fixed or something. That's probably going to be better. Interestingly enough, so this isn't going to work. Why is this not going to work? Because when I start, this is the thing, when I start deleting elements of the array, then the index values change as the array elements change. So while this was kind of a nice idea of oh, let me just put a list of valid things that I can delete. Once I pick one valid thing to delete, then those other things move around and I have to reshuffle all the index values. This is a terrible idea. So another thing I could do, one thing that's kind of weird that you can do in JavaScript is that you can attach properties to existing objects. So I think this might actually work for me here because I have all these vector objects. And so let me get rid of this idea of the indices. That was an interesting idea that I'm now going to get rid of. And let me get rid of this here. Let me just comment this out. So what I want to do is with these, I'm going to say, I'm just going to attach a property like active. So this function, polar to Cartesian, returns a p5 vector object. And I could make my own class and make my own object, but I'm just going to keep track, is this active? They're all active to start. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to, when I'm drawing them, I'm going to say if v.active, then draw the vertex. So this has to go here. So as I'm only draw the active ones. So I can, instead of actually deleting it, I can remove a flag. I mean, the thing is, if I was going to do this in order, it would be much easier. I was going to do it randomly. Probably should have just done this in order because I could just delete them one at a time and then skip the ones that I didn't want to delete. Anyway, I don't know why I'm doing it this way. Now I actually go back to my index thing. But I was going to say, I can also say if angle mod 120 equals 0, this is one of the fixed ones. So I can also say it's a fixed one. This means it can never be deactivated. So one thing I could do now, and actually this is kind of ridiculous what I'm about to do, but I'm just going to say, I'm just going to, every time through draw, I'm going to pick a random one. I'm going to, and I'm going to say, I'm going to get that vector. So circle a path index. And then I'm going to say, as long as it's not a fixed one, I'm going to deactivate it. Now here's the thing. So this is me doing it randomly. I'm leaving all of them there. I'm never removing anything from the array. And so I'm just deactivating them as long as they're not a fixed one. And we should see here. Now the thing is, it's happening in this like weird long amount of time because it still could pick ones. So what I could do here now, this is kind of ridiculous, but I could say, what I could do is I could say, let active list is a new array every time. Oh boy, I'm sure I could do this in a better way. But now I could look at everything that's there. I could probably use like, oh, I could use filter. I could use filter. I won't use it right now, but filter is a way of saying like, give me a new array by filtering out all the ones that are not active or not fixed. That's what I should do. So I should say if, but I'm going to just do this a manual way. If circle path I, so here's my vector. If it's active and not fixed, then it's part of the active list. And so I can add it to that active list. So now I have this, I'm rebuilding this. I can do this because, it's just like 100 points. I can mess around as much as I want. So I'm making this active list. And now I'm just going to pull from the active list. And there's no way it can be fixed because it couldn't be in there. There's no way it could be active. So I'm going to do this. And now, oops, index is not defined, sketch line 45, I. And then, whoops, so sketch line 53, I have to make sure as long as there's something there, right? Because when it gets to nothing, oh, I'm going to have to put it back. Ooh, I got to put it back. Maybe I'll leave that as an exercise. So let me make this circular path. Let me make this stroke weight just 2. Let me make the radius 200. And let me make the spacing just 2 degrees. So this will be more interesting. It's happening really quite slowly. But it's crazy how it jumps to, because the thing is, it's deleting all these little subsampled ones. And you don't really notice it. So I think probably an order to deleting them would make more sense. So like, for example, now this is ridiculous that I did all this stuff just to be able to do it randomly. But for example, if I just took the first one, right now this is one that Golan has already, I believe. So now I'm just deleting them one at a time. And then I could add them back one at a time. So thank you. This is yet another example. See, you can see there's so many possible ways you could think about this. I'm going to be done with this. This was another coding challenge. I'll leave it as an exercise to put all the points back. I don't want to code anymore right now. But you can see these are 2 possibilities. So let me remind you, if you go to github.com/GolanLevin/circle morphing, here is where you're going to find many, many other ways of doing it. So, super ellipse formula, that would have been a good way. Treating it as a rounded rectangle, so many better ways than I could have thought of. So I did 2 coding challenges, kind of trying to do this triangle to circle morphing. I hope that you make some. You can tweet them at me, #circlemorphing @Schiffman. You can, the code from my 2 will be on GitHub, and you can, what am I talking about? You can link to your own on by your pull request on my README and all of that. I'm playing my new outro music, which there will also be outro music afterwards. Boy, I hope I don't get a copyright violation for this music. I got it from a place where it said I was allowed to use it. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. All right. What time is it now? Is it 7 o'clock? Oh, it's after 7. I'm going to have to go. Yeah, look at all these. I'm getting all these excellent suggestions about how to do this in a much better way. All right. So thank you guys. What did I accomplish today? I made an arrow about an arrow function, a video about the arrow function. Kind of made a workflow video, which I hope helps. I did 2 circle morphing. What did I not get to? I don't think I can do any more. I will be back next Friday. And I didn't get to do any of the array functions. I didn't get to do more OOP. This I realized I've already done, so I don't have to do. And I didn't get to word to vec or the Alexa skill. So next week, let's see if next week I can get to this, this, and this. That would be a nice goal for next week. Well, I don't know. I don't know if this was useful today. I will read you some more random numbers. Promises. 53,398. 65,529. 47,865. 1,397. 3D7. This is how much my brain has stopped working. That's how much my brain has stopped working. I like my new... All right, thanks everybody. I'll see if there's a few more questions in the chat. And this was great, thank you. Good night, everybody, good night. And you'll be taking home with you a exciting package of Coding Train lists of videos I didn't make it to. I will answer a few questions from the chat. Oh, it just ended. It's so abrupt. One more time. Thank you. Do I know how to play the ukulele? I wish. I would totally just play the ukulele on YouTube and not make coding videos, which I think I need to take a break from. I did take a break last week. Oh, that was just the goodbye. All right. I think I just have to go. So thank you guys thank you everybody for watching. I will be back next Friday, hopefully earlier in the day. I think things maybe go better if I start earlier in the day. Everybody should send a tweet to MathBlank on Twitter and say thank you for figuring out how to edit these things, because it's really challenging. Because the thing is, I don't want to edit stuff out. I want it to have the mess. The mess is interesting. It's what I think people learn from. It's sometimes what people enjoy. And yet nobody's going to sit through an hour-and-a-half video. So it's finding the good mess and keeping that together. So yeah, now everybody can go watch Stranger Things. And how was Processing Community Day? Thank you for asking. Processing Community Day was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I think there were many things about the day that were just fantastic. I think there's many things we could do if we do the day again to improve the day and the sort of like aspects of community and our mission to make the day more inclusive. But overall, I had a really wonderful time. It was a thrill to meet people who were viewers of the channel. So there will be a video at some point that will come out of my live session there. It wasn't live streamed. But all the videos and talks from that day will come out at some point. And when they do, they won't necessarily be on this channel, but I will mention it and point you all to the channel. Maybe I'm processing as a Vimeo channel. Maybe we'll set up a YouTube. I'm not sure. The Meet in Real Life shirts from Processing Community Day, I don't think they're for sale. I think they were just made. I think they were just made just for. I think they were made just for the day. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they can be put online for sale. I have no idea. All right. Oh my God. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I feel like I would give myself a B minus for today. So I did make this, which is nice. And oh, this cup, my Coding Train mug. You want to know where you can get a Coding Train mug? I couldn't find my yellow mug. I left it on a table downstairs. I'm hoping I can find it later. If you've watched all the way till here, you can go to codingtrain.storeenvy.com. And what's weird about this is there are only shirts here, but if you go down here, you can go to Coding Train mugs, and you can actually order one of these two mugs. And this one actually has this, looks like this. Look at that, the Coding Train mug. Isn't it nice? Don't you want one? And then this is one that I have. It looks like this. I can't figure it out anymore. There it is. All right. Go home. Thank you, everybody. I'm actually going to be in upstate New York flying a drone this weekend for the first time. We'll see how that goes. Wish me luck. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to hit stop. I'm glad this didn't crash. So really, I'm going to do. I'm really enjoying my. You guys should probably let me know if it's really annoying, because I think it kind of is, but it amuses me to no end. So I'm going to go one last time. I'm going to be one last time, and I'm going to play it one last time. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. This was a wonderful live stream. I will see you next week on the Coding Train. Bye, everybody.